Welcome back. A new Hall of Fame is lining Blue Hill Avenue in Boston, featuring influential Bostonians. In a first-of-its-kind exhibition in the city, portraits of 212 Black women who are being honored for their contributions to the city's neighborhoods, politics, arts, media, and more are part of this mile-long display. And joining us is Ed Gaskin. He is the visionary inspiration behind this installation and executive director of Greater Grove Hall Main Street. Also, Josh Kraft, president of the Patriots Foundation, a major funder of the project. How are you both today?
Fine, thank you.
Good, thank
Wow. Ed, what was the inspiration for this project, and did you have a goal of 200 plus women?
I certainly didn't have a goal of 200. I had a goal of 100, but the problem is that there were so many women that met the criteria that we had to expand the number to 200.
So what was the inspiration behind doing this?
So there was a lot of things that came together. Very briefly, one was that I had been to some stuff that explained the relationship between public art and economic development. And at that time, according to Boston City, anyway, there was a document or a website that showed that Grove Hall only had one piece of public art. And so I said, oh my God, we live in a public art desert. And so we started doing some things. We did murals, we painted the utility boxes. We did a project recently where we took the posters, we took the bus shelter displays, and we used those to display photographs from photographers. So we were increasing the amount of public art. So on one hand, this was the largest amount of public art. We had been doing stuff with street art and graffiti artists, and using what we call found art, found space. And so the idea of putting the banners up was basically a space that hadn't been tapped before. And
in fact, you're using art to represent the women instead of photos.
That is correct.
Artist rendering.
Yes, and that's because obviously I don't have a photo of an escaped slave in the 1700s.
Well, that's a good point. So, Ed, there were many people involved in the selection process, including students. How were the women finally selected?
So when we were developing the criteria, one of the things that happened, a nomination process, is that a lot of Black teachers said we would like to be involved and we'd like to have this in the classroom. They thought that there wasn't as many role models for little Black boys, little Black girls as there was little Black boys, and so they thought it'd be great to have something like this. We reached out to the schools. We actually worked with Mother Caroline Academy, and we gave them lists of people, and then they actually made selections by class. When they did that, what I realized was how it got the students engaged. So I thought, what a great project for these Black young girls to be looking at doctors, judges, lawyers, but everything, hairdressers and stuff like that, to make the list. So then we realized, at least myself, this was teaching resiliency. It was teaching Black history. It was teaching all these different career options, and that no matter what you selected, you could be a success because there was already a Black woman from here that had already done that. And if they hadn't, you could be the first, like many of them were the first.
What a great lesson. Josh, as the funder of this project, did you have any thoughts on how or which women should be honored?
No, we really, the family, once Ed came to us a couple of years ago now and mentioned it. You know, I know Ed had asked me, you know, do you want to vet the names? And we said, look, Ed, you drive the project, you select, and the power of partnership with Grove Hall Main Streets and Mother Caroline.
It's a great partnership. But Josh, let me say this. When people think about the Patriots Foundation, they may not think about Black women, right? Working together on this. So tell me why you guys wanted to support this project. Well,
I think one of the driving...
How does it fit into the mission of your foundation?
Thanks. So one of the driving values of our foundation work, Patriots, family, whatever, is to use our platform to either bring access to opportunity for underrepresented groups or to celebrate underrepresented. And what better way to celebrate women full of commitment, initiative, and most importantly, love for their community. And not just the city of Boston, but the entire state of Massachusetts. And this was an easy thing for us to do.
Now, I heard that there is a person in your family who, when the first kind of brainstorming meeting got going, started ticking off some names of some people that he thought should be included in the mix. Is that a true
Yeah,
story?
so my dad made sure that Ruth Batson was included.
Well, let me correct that.
Okay.
What happened is I had the proposal, and I was meeting with Robert Kraft, and he goes, "You misspelled Ruth Batson's name." So I said, "How does Robert Kraft know the correct spelling for Ruth Batson?" And then Josh was explaining to this morning because of his relationship with her on Channel
7.
Yeah, the other board. So I had no idea they knew each other, and so. Again, I was very appreciative. I just have to say this though, because before I got to the Kraft family, I had been to some other foundations, and they said, well, this isn't really a public art project. It's not really, because it's not a sculpture, it's not a mural, it's not a placemaking project in their mind, it's not really a Black History project. So they said, this doesn't really fall neatly into the categories that we fund. And so basically they said no. So when I got to the Kraft family, I was delighted that they said, is the project still available? Because they thought somebody else had taken it. And so that's why I wanted to ask the same question you did. I would say, to Robert Kraft, what is it that you saw that you said yes when others said no? And that's why I think of him as a visionary. And I just concluded, my own conclusion is that the Kraft family is good at recognizing Hall of Fame players, and these are Hall of Fame women when it comes to the Black women in Boston.
And it speaks to the power of quiet, unseen leadership, doesn't it, Josh? Yeah.
And these women, again, will go back to what drove them, their commitment to community, their love for community, the city, the state. But they weren't doing this because one day they were going to be in a banner on Blue Hill Ave. They did it because it was right for their community. It was right for them. And there's no more powerful symbol of leadership than doing what's right for the greater good. And by celebrating them on these banners, the next generation of young women, especially from Mother Caroline, can see and aspire to do the same.
And I'm honored to have been invited to be a part of the group. Thank you, Ed.
Well,
Thank you
I
very
just
much.
have to say, though, you were in one of the toughest categories.
Okay.
Because what happened is, I'm sorry.
We're almost out of time.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
There's never enough time to talk about this. Josh Kraft, Ed Gaskins, thank you so much. We're going to put information on our CityLine website.
Okay.
How people can find out more.
Okay.
And find out more about the women, all right?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks so
Thanks
much
for
for
having
watching,
us.
everybody. Have a great afternoon.